the Maker. We need help. They attacked the wagon. Please help us. Follow me. I'll take you to them.
I would wake up dead, or not wake up at all, as the case may be. But I see you haven't killed me yet. Ah, so I am to be interrogated. Let me save you some time. My name is Zevran. Zev to my friends. I am a member of the Antivan Crows, brought here for the sole purpose of slaying any surviving Grey Wardens, which I have failed at, sadly.
This elf is a crow. That makes sense. They are an order of assassins out of Antiva. I understand they almost run that nation, and are hired only at great expense.
Quite right. I'm surprised you haven't heard much of the crows out here. Back where I come from, we're rather infamous. Not precisely. I was in the neighborhood when the offer came. The crows get around, you see. A rather taciturn fellow in the capital. Logan, I think his name was. Yes, that's it. Why not? I wasn't paid for silence. Not that I offered it for sale, precisely. Loyalty is an interesting concept. If you wish, and you're done interrogating me, we can discuss it further. Very well. Ask, and thou shalt receive. Then, unless you're quite stuck on cutting my throat or something equally gruesome, perhaps you'd care to hear a proposal. Well, here's the thing. I failed to kill you, so my life is forfeit. That's how it works. If you don't kill me, the crows will. Thing is, I like living. And you obviously are the sort to give the crows pause, so let me serve you instead. Well, let's see. Being allowed to live would be nice, and would make me marginally more useful to you. And somewhere down the line, if you should decide that you no longer have need of me, then I go on my way. Until then, I am yours. Is that fair? Why? Because I am skilled at many things, from fighting to stealth and picking locks. I could also warn you should the Antivan Crows attempt something more sophisticated, now that my attempts have failed. I also know a great many jokes. 12 massage techniques, 6 different card games. I do wonderful at parties, no? I think you're royally tough to kill. I'm only hoping that you're stupid. That was a joke. Let me rephrase that. I'm hoping that you're the sort of fellow that takes a chance every now and again. Yes? To be completely honest, I was never given much of a choice regarding joining the Crows. They bought me on the slave market when I was a child. I think I paid my worth back to them plus tenfold. The only way out, however, is to sign up with someone they can't touch. Even if I did kill you now, they might just kill me on principle for failing the first time. Honestly, I'd rather take my chances with you. I happen to be a very loyal person. Up until the point where someone expects me to die for failing. That's not a fault, really, is it? I mean, unless you're the sort who would do the same thing, in which case I don't come very well recommended, I suppose.
A fine plan, but I would examine your food and drink far more closely from now on, were I you.
That's excellent advice for anyone. I hereby pledge my oath of loyalty to you until such a time as you choose to release me from it. I am your man, without reservation. This I swear. Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well, The crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training, the sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is the desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. Within the crows, I did. But it has been something the crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfect. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? Here I am. Oh, I certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see. You need to learn the arts of the crows in order to slay Darkspawn, do you? You seem to be doing fine as it is. If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows? Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it? To be truthful, I didn't even know the crows existed when I joined them. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased, for 3 sovereigns, I'm told, which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The crows buy all their assassins that way, buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder, and if you do poorly in your training, you die. Oh, I don't know about that. The crows who are actually good enough to survive come to enjoy some of the benefits. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. It gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so. Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared. The authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses. Even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree? I often find myself the instrument of fate, ending these lives for one necessity or another. I console myself with the notion that most of them had it coming. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules, oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else? Really? I can picture you doing a few things yourself. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them. All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. My adventures? I'm hardly an old man just returned from across the ocean, am I? Should I shake my fist at nearby children while I talk about the good old days? Falling down a flight of stairs is an adventure. Falling into someone's bed, also an adventure. I am assuming what you're looking for are professional anecdotes. Let's see, my second mission ever for the crows was a bit intriguing. I was sent to kill a mage who had been meddling in politics. In Antiva, nobody is too important to escape the reach of the crows. They've killed kings and queens. That is simply how it is. As it turned out, the mage in question was quite a delightful young woman. Long, divine legs, as I recall. I caught her in a carriage on her way to escape to the provinces. After I killed her guard, she got down on her hands and knees and begged for her life. Rather aptly, I might add. So I joined her in the carriage for the night and left the next morning. Yes, but not on purpose, actually. The woman had actually convinced me to speak to the crows on her behalf. What can I say? I was young and foolish at the time. Then, as I was kissing her goodbye to return to Antiva City, she slipped on the threshold and fell backwards out of the carriage. Broke her neck. Shame, really, but at least it happened quickly. At first, yes. Well, not upset. Surprised is really a better word. Then I found out that she had told the driver to take her to Janellen instead. She had planned to lose me in the provinces. I would have looked very foolish to the crows. As it was, my master was very impressed that I had done such a fine job of making it look like an accident. The circle of magi was unaware of foul play, and everyone was happier all around. I got stupid, in fact, and very lucky. It was after that when I learned that one needn't let a pretty face go to your head. Professionalism was key. That's my moral of the day, you see. Well, there is you. But I'll point out that you did have to capture me and tie me up first. Every rule has its exception. Now that I've mentioned tying me up in that context, do we have extra rope about? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Again, well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. Haha, you have rather macabre tastes, I see. I like that. Let's see, how about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Azrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Prince Azrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocell from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Azrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Prince Azrin was too powerful. Who could you send to arrest the man that wasn't either in his pocket or that didn't fear being assassinated first? Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in the river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. It's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Well, the only one that's really worth telling is the story of the mission right before I came to Ferelden. But no, I would rather not. I shouldn't have said anything. Nothing that I would prefer to speak of. Perhaps another day, I'm sorry. All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. I know little enough of the Dalish other than the fact that my mother was one, or so I was told. She had fallen in love with an elven woodcutter and accompanied him back to the city, leaving her clan behind for good. And there, of course, the woodcutter died of some filthy disease and my mother was forced into prostitution to pay off his debts. Oldest tale in the book. Is it? It seemed normal enough a tale growing up. No different than the other elven boys in the whorehouse. I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were. We were all raised communally by the whores. It was a happy enough existence, ignoring the occasional beating. Until eventually I was sold to the crows. I brought a good price, so I hear. That's very kind of you to say, but it is not necessary. It could have been much worse. Shall I tell you about what happened to the other whorehouse boys who did not fetch a decent price with the crows? Surely your life has not been so idyllic. People like you and I are not the product of happy lives of contentment, after all. My original point is that my mother's Dalish nature was always a point of fascination for me. Through all the years of my crow training, the one thing of my mother's that I possessed was a pair of gloves. They were of Dalish make, I knew that much, and beautiful. I had to keep them hidden, of course, as we were not allowed such things. Eventually, they were discovered, and I never saw them again. Oh, there has been plenty. To tell the truth, it is because I expected nothing more. Still, even I eventually thought that it would be better for me if I ran off to join the famous Dalish when one of their clans drew near Antiva city. Naturally, the reality did not live up at all to the fantasies I had constructed as a boy, staring at those gloves. But such is life. Come, enough talk of the Dalish. Let us move on. I've a question, if I may. Well, here's the thing. I swore an oath to serve you, yes? And I understand the quest you're on, and this is all very fine and well. My question pertains to what you intend to do with me once this business is over with, as a point of curiosity. Of course it is afterwards. The ravishing part is a given. One simply assumes that once your Grey Warden business is finished, you would have no need of an assassin to follow you about. Am I wrong? I'm sure I could come up with a few more if pressed. It is good to know what my options might be, but that is for another time. For now, we have much to do, yes? All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. Oh, you wish to know about Antiva, do you? The only way to truly appreciate it would be to go there. It is a warm place, not cold and harsh like this Ferelden. In Antiva it rains often, but the flowers are always in bloom. Or so the saying goes. It's not really a matter of wanting to go back. I cannot go. At least not yet. I hail from the glorious Antiva city, home to the royal palace. It is a glittering gem amidst the sand, my Antiva city. Do you come from someplace comparable? And it's a fine enough city, I suppose? Though it rather looks like someone spilled all the houses on top of a mountain and called it home, no? You know what is most odd? We speak of my homeland, and for all its wine and its dark-haired beauties and the lilo flutes of the minstrels, I miss the leather the most. I mean the smell. For years, I lived in a tiny apartment near Antiva City's leather-making district, in a building where the crows stored their youngest recruits, packed in like crates. I grew accustomed to the stench, even though the humans complained of it constantly. To this day, the smell of fresh leather is what reminds me most of home more than anything else. Oh, not so long, I know. It is my first time away from Antiva, however, and the thought of never returning makes me think of it constantly. Before I left, I was tempted to spend what little coin I possessed on leather boots I spotted in the store window. Finest Antivan leather, perfect craftsmanship. But I was a fool to leave them. I thought, Zevran, you can buy them when you return as a reward for a job well done. More the fool I, no? True, and it's a comforting thought. One simply never knows what is to come next. How could I have suspected I would end up defeated by a handsome Grey Warden? A man who then spares my life? I could not. Perhaps that was a poor choice of words. True, though it is. Do you object? And glad I am to hear it. Now, if it is all the same to you, I would prefer not to speak more of Antiva. It makes me wistful and hungry for a proper meal. Oh, this should be good. What would you like to discuss? Intrigued by tight leather clothing? I grew up amongst Antivan whores, men and women both. My introduction to the subject of sex was, shall we say, rather practical. My only rule regarding sex is that it be done well. It's a certain open-mindedness that the crows seek in their recruits, for very good reasons. Indeed, and nothing could please me more. This is a new path I am on now. It would be interesting to see where it leads. Already it has been many new things. I cannot change my past, obviously. You are a most intriguing man, but if what I represent makes you uncomfortable, well, it would be better for both of us to know that now, yes? Just so. Enough talk of the past. As my tutor used to say, keep your eyes to the rear in the ambush and the bedchamber, and not otherwise. Words to live by. Look at you. Your weary stance, the dark circles under your eyes. Poor man, all this constant walking has gotten to you. Do you know what you need? My thought is this. We retire to your tent and I show you the sort of massage skills that one only learns growing up in an Antivan whorehouse. A willing victim it is. And if I might ask, if the opportunity to proceed past the massage should present itself. Then why are we still talking? See? I knew this would happen eventually. I should have warned you right from the moment you refused to kill me. It was inevitable. Oh, such subtlety in your seductive charms that I was not even aware of them. A work of art in motion, perhaps? So then, as the priestess so famously said to the handsome actor, What now? Allow me to make it simple for you, my Grey Warden. What comes next is entirely up to you. I was raised to take my pleasures where they could be found, for they do not come very often. I shall ask nothing more of you than you are willing to give. I was born of a whore and bred as an assassin. All I know is of pleasure and death. What room is there on these things for love, huh? At any rate, we should be on our way. A new day awaits us, or so the rumor goes. You wish to talk? Ah, good. I have a question for you. How well versed are you in poetry? Antivan poetry, specifically. Trust me, you'll know even less once I tell you this. It was recited to me, as I recall, by a rather wealthy target of mine. Let's see. The symphony I see in thee, it whispers songs to me. Songs of hot breath upon my neck. Songs of soft grants by my head. Songs of hands on muscled back. Songs of thee come to my bed. So she claimed. She was trying to seduce me, you see, and somehow she thought that this would actually convince me to spare her. I had sex with her anyway, but that goes without saying. She still had to die. The poem was amusing at the time, however, and thus I've always remembered it. Now that is a thought, isn't it? Would it work? I'll have to keep that in mind. Personally, my preferred methods of seduction are a bit more tactile. Here I thought you might be cheered up by some naughty poetry. You simply look so grim. Such an unflattering expression for such a handsome face. Ah, who wouldn't? Burn me in the chantry if you must, but you're a man to stoke the lust in women and other men alike. Surely you know this and you're playing with me. Me, I tend to make the best of whatever situation I find myself in, stealing what moments I can. It's served me well most days. You might learn to do the same. Oh? Then I learn something new about you every day. Enough poetry, I think. The time has come for traveling and the murdering of villains and whatever else passes for adventuring these days. You call? Can I respond in poetry? No? How sad. Yes, I suppose it is time. You have been a good friend to me after all. There is no reason to be silent. There is a reason I accepted this mission in Ferelden, far away from home, and it had nothing to do with any thought that I might leave the Crows. Meeting you, after all, was quite an accident. My last mission before this one did not end well. You must realize that until that day I was cocky and arrogant. I was the best crow in Antiva, I believed, and I bragged of my conquests often, both as an assassin and lover. One of the Crow Masters grew tired of my boasting. My bid for an incredibly difficult mark was accepted, much to my surprise. A wealthy merchant with many guards and completely silent. Taliesin agreed to be part of my team, as well as an elven lass named Rina. She was a marvel. Tough, smooth, wicked. Eyes that gleamed like justice. Everything I thought I desired. Rina was special. I had closed off my heart, I thought. But she touched something within me. It frightened me. When Taliesin revealed to me that Rina had accepted a bribe from the merchant, told him of our plan, I readily agreed that she needed to pay the price and allowed Taliesin to kill her. Rina begged me not to. On her knees, with tears in her eyes, she told me that she loved me and had not betrayed us. I laughed in her face and said that even if it were true, I didn't care. Taliesin cut her throat, and I watched her bleed as she stared up at me. I spat on her for betraying the Crows. When Taliesin and I finally assassinated the merchant, we found the true source of his information. Rina had not betrayed us, after all. Of course not. I didn't care to know. I wanted to tell the crows what we had done, our mistake. Taliesin convinced me not to. He said it would be a foolish waste. So we reported that Rina had died in the attempt. We needn't have bothered. The crows knew what we had done. The master who disliked me told me so to my face. He said the crows knew, and they didn't care. And one day, my turn would come. To rub it in my face, perhaps. That I was nothing. That she was nothing. You once asked why I wanted to leave the crows. In truth, what I wanted was to die. What better way than to throw myself at one of the fabled Grey Wardens? And then, this happened. And here I am. It feels good to speak of it to someone. I swore I never would. Whatever it is I sought by leaving Antiva, I think I have found it. I owe you a great deal. Let us return to your mission, shall we? Suddenly, I do not feel like standing about.
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. It seems he only ever has one thing on his mind. I question the wisdom of a Grey Warden being involved in such an affair. Which is why I worry. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities, and I fear you will neglect them. But you are a Grey Warden. The title is not a coat that you cast aside at the end of the day. It should inform your every action, your every decision. The way you are acting now, it is not fitting of a Grey Warden. If you insist, I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
That smell. This is Antivan leather, isn't it? I would know that anywhere. I don't know how you found it, but thank you. Now, if only you could find me a prostitute or two, a bowl of fish chowder, and a corrupt politician, I'd really feel like I was home. And the feet as well. Marvelous. Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for? Maker's breath. You're right. It is like my mother's. The leather was less thick and it had more embroidery, but these are very close and quite handsome. Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you.
That is rather wily of you, Zevran.
What is so wily of me, oh magical temptress?
Getting in the good graces of the one who decides whether you live or die, not to mention the one who can protect you against your former comrades.
And I am supposed to believe you are here out of a sense of patriotism, perhaps?
Hardly that.
We all have our reasons for doing what we do. Mine happen to come with a set of strong hands.
So, you and the boss, huh?
If by boss you are referring to who I think you are correct.
Just. Well, good luck with that.
Why, thank you ever so much.
You might want to, keep it down, though.
I have noticed that the Painted Elf seeks the attention of the Grey Warden.
He certainly does.
I watched many such couplings during the time I spent immobile in Honleith. Or I should say I was forced to watch. You do know that this usually ends in reproduction. I've seen it many times indeed.
I doubt that would be a problem in this particular instance, but who knows? The act of creation is grand fun.
So you say. I have no idea how a golem is created, but I doubt I shall be creating one anytime soon.
Just as well, I imagine. Any lover of yours would no doubt be quickly reduced to a puddle of bruises.
So you see me winning the affection of another golem, do you? Most golems are slaves to whomever holds their control rod.
Funny, it works exactly the same way for us as well.
He is quite a character, your Zevran, no? He seems to seek pleasure above all things. But there is more to him, isn't there? He is more complex than he lets on. I feel that it is in my interest to study those I travel with. And Zevran deserves special scrutiny, seeing that he tried to kill you. But it seems you trust him, judging from your closeness. If you do, then I do too. You haven't led us astray yet. That aside, you do have good taste. He's an attractive one. I can tell.
So here is the mighty Grey Warden at long last. The crows send their greetings once again.
So they sent you, Taliesin. Or did you volunteer for the job?
I volunteered, of course. When I heard that the great Zevran had gone rogue, I simply had to see it for myself.
Is that so? Well, here I am, in the flesh.
You can return with me, Zevran. I know why you did this, and I don't blame you. It's not too late. Come back and we'll make up a story. Anyone can make a mistake. You don't even know who you're talking about, do you?
And neither do you, Taliesin. I'm sorry, my old friend, but the answer is no. I'm not coming back. And you should have stayed in Antiva. And there it is. Taliesin is dead. And I am free of the crows. They will assume that I am dead along with Taliesin. So long as I do not make my presence known to them, they will not seek me out. A very good thing. It is in fact what I had hoped for ever since you decided not to kill me. I suppose it would be possible for me to leave now if I wished. I could go far away, somewhere where the crows would never find me. I think, however, that I could also stay here. I made an oath to help you, after all, and saving the world seems a worthy task to see through to the end, yes? Well, we can't have that, can we? I'd best stay lest the consequences become unseemly. Let us return to the task at hand, then. There is still much to be done, yes? Here, it seems an appropriate moment to give you this. I acquired it on my very first job for the crows. A Raveni merchant prince, and he was wearing a single jeweled earring when I killed him. In fact, that's about all he was wearing. I thought it was beautiful and took it to mark the occasion. I've kept it since, and I'd like you to have it. Don't get the wrong idea about it. You killed Taliesin. As far as the crows will be concerned, I died with him. That means I'm free, at least for now. Feel free to sell it or wear it, whatever you like. It's really the least I could give you in return. Look, just take it. It's meant a lot to me, but so has what you've done. Please, take it. You are a very frustrating man to deal with. Do you know that? We pick up every other bit of treasure we come across, but not this. You don't want earring, you don't get earring. Very simple. I did not thank you. It occurs to me now that you have freed me from the crows, and yet I did not think to thank you for it. No matter why you did it, it was done, and I the benefactor. So, thank you. In the crows, we do not have friends, and yet here you are, and I cannot help but consider you such. Then allow me to say this. What we are doing here, stopping the Blight, I cannot think of anything I have ever done which is so worthy. I intend to see this through to the end with you. After all, someone must take responsibility for preventing your untimely death. A suitable task for a friend, yes? Now, isn't that odd? Just a year ago, Taliesin was telling me, Zevran, why are your plans always so horrid? Planning has never been my strong suit. Now, killing and lovemaking. Killing and lovemaking and witty retorts. Those I am better at. I forget where I was going with this. Well, no, I am yours. Again? I'm game. No. I mean, no offense. I simply... no. I do not wish to talk about it. Enough! I said I am not interested. Can you not understand that? There are other things for you to focus on besides me, I am certain. Do those. I am yours. Again? I'm game. I thought that this might be it. Are you certain you wish to talk about this? I really do not know what to say. Very well. An assassin must learn to forget about sentiment. It is dangerous. You take your pleasures where you can when life is good. To expect anything more would be reckless. I thought it was the same between us. Something to enjoy, a pleasant diversion, and little more. And yet... I don't know. How would you know such a thing? I grew up amongst those who sold the illusion of love. And then I was trained to make my heart cold in favor of the kill. Everything I have been taught says what I feel is wrong. Yet, I cannot help it. Since you asked me into your tent, I have been nothing but confused. Do you understand me at all? I still have the earring. I would like to give it to you, as a token of affection. Will you take it? Not unless you wish it. Then that is enough for me. I am sorry for acting so strangely. I think I will be better now. Much better.
You think so, do you? Really? Just one of them? Just one person assaulting Fort Draken. Good luck with that. Sure. I'll just hold my breath, shall I?
What's your business in Fort Draken?
I am delivering this dog to your kennels.
I wasn't told we were getting a Mabari.
Look, I brought this hound no small distance. I am not living here without payment.
Fine, I'll get the captain. Wait over there. And shut that dog up, would you?
They fell for it. Now we have only to wait. Don't look so surprised. I'm a professional. All right, what's this about? This dog is to be delivered to the kennel. Why does the blighted houndmaster never notify me of these things? Very well, take him through. And tell Neville I want a word with him when you get there.
State your business.
This is a crime.
What?
For a young woman in the prime of her life to waste away. I suppose there is some comfort in the knowledge that you sacrifice your youth and beauty, the best years of your life, for your kingdom, but it seems such a loss.
I hadn't really thought of it like that.
How noble! To sacrifice the pleasures of life so others might enjoy them. Your idealism is impressive.
You know, you're right. 3 Saturnalias in a row they've stuck me on barracks duty. 3! I'm going to live my life before it's too late. Let somebody else guard their stupid door.
Ah, my dear Warden. Did you miss me?
What's on your mind? I have watched you for a time, and perhaps I was wrong. There seems to be something special between the two of you. His demeanor changes when he's with you. There is a tenderness to his gaze I'd never seen till now. Perhaps he just allowed you to see it. I think I was too harsh in my judgment before, and I am sorry. What you have may not last forever. Death and duty may part you, but love's worthiness is not diminished because of that. I should have seen this before. Instead, you learn to cherish every precious moment that you spend together, knowing that it may be the last. And for those of us watching, well, it brings warmth to these old bones to know that something so beautiful can be found in the midst of chaos and strife.
Why are half the people they quarantine perfectly healthy? I don't believe it. Maker's breath. They said all the Grey Wardens died with the king. Everyone thought... Valendrian even held a funeral for you. Cousin, you have no idea the things that happened after your wedding. I'm babbling, aren't I? I'm so happy to see you.
A wedding? So there is a secretive side to you after all. No. Did you find out you... At least we can be sure you look stunning for the occasion.
I propose is this. Lay with me, here tonight, and from our joining, a child will be conceived. The child will bear the taint, and when the archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The archdemon is still destroyed with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Not at all. It will become something different. A child born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. Why? Because of Zevran? Do you really believe that he would risk your death when it could be avoided? Consider the possibility that Riordan may not be there to make the final blow as he plans. What then? Do you run away? Do you let Alistair, the future king of Ferelden, take the blow instead? And what if he does not make it to the archdemon either? Would you truly choose death rather than lay with me for one night? Would you deny yourself the tomorrows and all its rewards? I see. There is, of course, another option.
So, we head into the city to face the archdemon together, do we? Just as it should be. If this should be the last we speak, I want you to know, assassinating you was the luckiest thing that could have happened to me. Yes. Yes, I know that. When all this pomp and ceremony is done. Such events are perfect opportunities for assassins, after all. I can't help but expect the crows to appear at any moment. Which would be a welcome break, mind you. You see? This is why I like you. Always game for a little fun. You know, it does occur to me that staying in one place is only going to invite the crows to find me that much quicker. While fun, that might eventually get complicated. You said earlier that you were planning on returning to the Grey Warden fold soon. Is that true? Naturally. You caught me and now you're stuck with me, I'm afraid. Sad, I know, but we'll manage somehow. Well then, since I am sticking around, I suppose we'll have plenty of time to speak later, yes? So go on and get paraded about. It's fun to watch. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on you and make sure no one gets a clear shot. Not without paying me a great deal of coin, anyhow.
Champion of Kirkwall. Your reputation precedes you. Forgive me. I should introduce myself properly. My name is Nuncio Caldera Lanos. I am a noble from the beautiful country of Antiva.
It must have taken a lot of practice to say that all in one breath.
It's mostly to impress the ladies, I assure you. I've come to ask your help, champion. Hiding among the Dalish is an elven assassin I've been chasing for months. He's a master manipulator who will endanger even his own kind to ensure his survival.
You don't seem the type to hunt assassins. Why are you after him?
At first, it was merely duty to Antiva. But after losing so many good men to him, it became personal. He's nothing but a murderer, a thief, and a liar.
You want me to use my wily ways to find out where the Dalish are hiding this elf?
That is part of it, yes. This elf is very dangerous, and he must be brought in before he kills again. I've heard of your dealings with the Dalish. I was hoping you could go where my men could not. Find out where the assassin is hiding, and apprehend him.
I'll see what I can do.
One of the Dalish, a woman named Variel, is a friend of his. I suggest speaking with her first.
We won't be here when you get back. We got a campsite outside the city. Look for us there.
Greetings, champion. That is what they call you in your city, isn't it? Did you need something?
I hear there is a criminal hiding among the Dalish.
He is not among us. This criminal of yours is set up in a cave away from our camp. He said there would be people looking for him, and to tell anyone who asked where he was.
I thought the point of hiding was not to be found.
He said he didn't want to endanger our people by asking us to lie for him. Not something you'd expect from a cruel and evil murderer, is it? He'll be waiting for you at the cave. Good luck trying to reach him, however.
Now you, I wasn't expecting.
I thought I smelled Antivan leather.
Isabella! If it isn't my favorite pirate wench.
Shouldn't you be dead by now?
I could say the same, my dear. It seems we were both fortunate to find powerful friends, no? How do you do? My name is Zevran Aranai, adventurer and occasional assassin. I must admit, I was waiting for an assault by the crows, not the mighty champion of Kirkwall.
How do you know I'm the champion?
Slayer of Kunari, Deep Roads explorer, and may I say, one fine specimen of manhood. You underestimate your fame.
How do you two know each other?
How does anyone know Isabella?
Yes, well, you'll never know Isabella again if you keep that up.
I'll assume you're not talking about birds.
Oh, please, do not tell me you know nothing of the Antivan Crows. We are the finest guild of assassins, an object of fear throughout the lands for any man with wealthy enemies. Or I should say they are. I am no longer a crow, a fact they find unacceptable.
There must be more to it than you leaving the guild.
That is offense enough to the crows, believe me. I may have also killed the last 4 assassins they sent after me, and older men. Oh, and the guildmaster. In fact, if you were a crow, you might make a fortune bringing me in. You should consider a career change. No, really.
I thought you'd be taller.
Ah, let me guess. A man named Nuncio has asked you to capture a dangerous killer, yes? What did he say this time? That I killed his wife? Butchered his parents? Sold his children into slavery? Or did he tell you he was a lawman from Antiva, charged with apprehending a ridiculously handsome fugitive?
He also said you were a wanted murderer.
Oh, indeed I am. But technically I imagine everyone here can rightfully claim that title. Bring me to Nuncio if you wish, but I warn you, he surely intends to kill you. The crows do not like loose ends. Unlike myself. But you are a man who can clearly handle himself, yes? Why worry? So, you can either tie me up, gag me, and then manhandle me. Or you can take me to Nuncio. Which will it be, I wonder?
You're very compliant for a fugitive.
Compliant, yes, and very bendy. But truthfully, I know when I am outmatched. I would rather take my chances against the crows.
I'm not going to hand you over to someone who lied to me.
Ah, as wise as you are breathtaking. You remind me of a very dear friend. As a suggestion, you might wish to deal with Nuncio. If you don't, he will only come after you. It's been more than a pleasure, my dear champion. Fare you well.
I let your assassin go. Was I not supposed to do that?
You had him? And you let him go? I am thoroughly disappointed. No one fails the crows and lives.
Ah, poor stupid Nuncio. The crows do like that saying, but I am living proof it's a lie. Why they insist on thinking they can kill people like you and the Warden, I will never guess.
Let me tell you, it's a burden I bear on a daily basis.
You are nothing but a traitor and a coward, Zevran. You'll die here.
Yes, well, let's see how that works out for you. Excellent. Killing my former brothers in arms is oddly satisfying. I've little reward to offer you, champion, but perhaps this will serve as a token of my thanks. My dear Isabella, it has been a delight to see you again. You travel in fine company.
That's it? You're leaving? What about sex?
Normally I would jump at the chance, but my dear Warden may be a tad put out. It is time for me to move on. I have a Warden to return to after all. It's been far too long. Perhaps we'll meet again, champion.